Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. So, first of all, I would like to express my special thank you to everyone present here for having me the floor to present the research on the topic of English language teaching. It's a great pleasure for me to be with you on this special occasion. Well, let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Ayatusyifa Asral. I am honored and delighted to be here today to speak to you about this research. So, as we can see, this research basically investigates one of the common grammar challenges students face in their academic writing. So, by the end of the presentation, I hope all of you will have a clearer understanding of the types and causes of these grammatical errors and understand how this insight can involve better teaching practice. So, I'll begin with the research background first. So, did you know that in many technical institutions in Rwanda, including IPRC Missouri, English is used as the main medium of instruction? Unfortunately, many students still have a difficulty to accurately express themselves in written English. A major concern was observed by the teachers. It was the frequent misuse of verb forms, especially in writing tasks such as essays. Despite the importance of grammar in communicating ideas clearly, no detailed study had been conducted to specify and classify this type of verb form errors in this context. So that's why this research was initiated to fill the gap by analyzing the real examples of students' essays and then categorizing them in a systematic and pedagogically meaningful way. So that's all I have to say about the research background. Let's move on to the research objectives. So, this research had two main objectives. The first one is to identify and classify the grammatical errors, especially in verb usage, made by the first year engineering students. And the second one is seek to validate the classification by examining how these types of errors are perceived and confirmed by the English language and social science teachers. So here, the teacher offered the insight based on their teaching experience, which allowed the researcher to cross-check and reinforce the reliability of the classification. So, as a matter of fact, these two objectives were intended to build a pedagogical improvement by offering both descriptive elaboration on these grammar errors and also the practical guidance underlying in classroom reality. Okay, let's move on to the research methodology. So this research utilized a mixed method approach using concurrent triangulation. It means both qualitative and quantitative data were collected and analyzed simultaneously. And for the participant, this research consists of 133 first-year engineering students from departments such as civil engineering and social science and social communication department who submit essays in English. These essays serve primarily as the main collection of this research. So, on the other hand, 15 teachers were asked to complete the structured online questionnaire via Google Form. These questionnaires include both an open-ended question to gather insights into their perception. And for data analysis, this research utilized document analysis to examine the students' essays, and then deductive thematic analysis for teachers' responses, and descriptive statistics to quantify the frequency and identify the trends. So, the types of verb form analysis. So, this study focused on 5 core English verb form. As you can see, so they were selected because they are not only frequently used in academic context, but also known to be especially problematic for E-level learners, particularly for those with limited exposure to formal grammar instruction. This verb represents a range of grammatical functions from subject-verb agreement to tense usage, and their misuse often impair the clarity and the meaning of the sentence. By targeting to these 5 forms, the researchers were able to narrow the scope while still addressing the most linguistically and pedagogically significant types of errors in students' writing. Let's move on to the error classification taxonomy. So, the grammatical verb errors were categorized based on the surface strategy taxonomy proposed by Dulay, Bird and Passion in 1982. This framework includes 4 types. The first one is omission. It means that the necessary elements like tenses markers and auxiliary verb are left out. And the second one is the omission. This addition. It is where the unnecessary elements are inserted. And the third one is misinformation. It means that incorrect verb form are utilized. For example, using the root verb instead of past tense when constructing the past even sentence. And the last one is misordering. So it means that words or morpheme appear in wrong sequence. So by using this taxonomy, the researcher not only spot the errors but also seek to understand the specific ways students still struggle. So here are the real examples of grammar errors taken directly from students' essays. As you can see, these seemingly small issues can often lead to unclear and awkward sentences, which can affect how well the students communicate their ideas clearly in academic context. So more importantly, these examples illustrate the recurring patterns which provide the teachers into the insights in the specific grammar areas in which the students need more guidance. So much for the examples. Let's discuss about the teacher's perspective. So the teacher confirmed that third-person singular verb errors such as omitting s was the most prevalent issues in students' writing. They also frequently observed the mistake involving the present participle forms and root verb, especially in continuous tense and modal construction. And in addition, many teachers note that many students still confused to differentiate between the simple past and past participle. So, the next discussion is about the frequency of errors. So, let's take a look at this table. So, the analysis showed that misinformation errors are most frequent. It means that the students often use the incorrect verb forms, although they were attempting to apply the rules. For example, they use success as a verb instead of succeed, and use the get instead of got. Omission errors comes next, so the students left out the important grammar markers such as ed, as, and auxiliary verbs. Meanwhile, addition and misordering were relatively rare, but still occurred in some cases. For example, inserting helping verbs and replacing the verb phrases. So overall, the high rate of misinformation and omission indicates that the students were partially aware of grammatical rules, but their application is not consistent. It's possibly due to the overgeneralization, instructional gaps, or maybe the limited exposure. So, the next discussion is about the discussion. So, the types of errors identified by the researcher indicates that the student have partial knowledge of grammar and lack of full understanding of verb conjugation, sub-agreement, tenses, and so on. It may be influenced by their first language interference, especially when they try to translate directly from their mother tongue into English. Importantly, the teacher's feedback confirmed the reliability of the errors analysis. Their observation aligned with the errors found in students' essays, which strengthened the credibility of the data and reinforcing the idea that these problems were separated, not isolated cases. So, let's move on to the discussion. So, in conclusion, the study revealed that many students still commit the grammatical verb errors across all five forms. And these errors were categorized based on the surface static taxonomy, and the misinformation emerged as the most dominant. So although sometimes small informs, these errors can impact the clarity and the professionalism of their academic writing, because this error can lead to the misunderstanding of the intended meaning and potentially undermining the credibility of the words. Therefore, avoiding not to commit the errors is crucial. It is not only for effective communication, but also to demonstrate academic integrity and attention to the detail. The study also suggests that improving grammar instruction alone may be not enough. Instead, helping students develop grammar through speaking and writing simultaneously in a communicative way can lead to more lasting improvement in writing accuracy and fluency. So, here are the recommendations. For the teachers, it's important for them to emphasize and focus on the explicit instruction using a real example from students' writing in order to make the learning more relevant. And they also need to provide the regular feedback to their students in order to make the students recognize and can correct the errors they commit. Meanwhile, for the students, they need to engage more frequently in writing practice and grammar drills in which they do it not only during the learning process in formal school settings, but also in non-formal ones. This can help them to build the accuracy. Furthermore, they also need to participate more in English conversation to help internalize the verb structure more naturally. Last but not least, for curriculum designers, the studies suggest integrating writing-focused grammar modules that reflects the kinds of errors they commit in writing. The study also suggests that that they can use gamified or interactive tools in order to make the learning more engaging and less intimidating, especially for the learners in technical institutions. Okay, that's all I have to say about this research. Okay, everyone, that brings me to the end of the presentation. If you have any question or you may share your thoughts, you can type on the comment section. I hope this discussion provide you a clearer picture of how verb can affect the students' writing, and we as educators or students can respond to this challenge more effectively. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.